Welcome back to the Brick Abbey, a channel where we are going to build and review Lego sets, and we are continuing with Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. And we're not really sure if... I like doing this next part, but we're not sure if it'll make for a great video, and we're going to sort of see. So what I love to do is separate everything according to color. I find that makes going through the instructions really easy. That's actually not something that's original to me. I think one of the first times I ever did a Lego set with my kids, it was something my wife recommended. She's like, "What are you doing?" It looked like this, and I was just rummaging and looking for pieces. And so she sort of organized by color, and I've enjoyed doing it that way ever since. It makes going through the instructions very enjoyable. Now, for bigger sets, if we were, to do something like this, it might not work as well. We'll have to wait and just sort of see. Every set's a little bit different. So sometimes you have sets where you're doing like bags 1 and 2, and bags 1 and 2 will probably be this many pieces or more. Something really big like I don't know, Millennium Falcon or something like that. And we'll call that sort of play it by ear, I guess is the saying, and see what we want to do with those sets. I'm also going to try to create sort of a central clear area here for building, and you can't see it, but because of my microphone and how I have the scene set up, we're going to aim to have the instructions sort of down here in this corner so they're always visible. We may work on something with the scene to zoom on that just for you. So when we're going through the build, I may do that just so there's always sort of a very clear picture of what step that we're on. I also like to organize them by size. It really speeds the process up. I don't know if this actually makes it faster. I don't honestly know, because what I'm doing right now obviously takes time. For me, it's more about the ritual. It's kind of relaxing. You can kind of be organized and put things where you want. And then so oh, hey, I need one of the thin whites, or I need, these are always fun, these ones that do that. I should be able to consistently see that, and then you just open it up. So the autofocus on the camera is pretty good. We should be able to pretty consistently do that if we want to showcase a piece. Always love the smooth pieces. Those were used in the TIE Fighter build that I did for my son, and I liked that one. That one was really fun. We're going to want to move at a decent clip here. We don't want to take too much time, but at the same time, you want to be roughly organized so that whenever you're going through this, you can find pieces quickly. Oh, that's just like a mark. I thought that was like a hair on the table. We had to put down it's like a art foam, because the table, it was going to drive me crazy. It had a crack down the middle of it because it's just a cardboard. Not a cardboard, a card table. And I felt like that crack was just going to drive me nuts. Oh, wow. These look like, that's like right out of classic Battleship. It's not, obviously, but it looks just like it. It's interesting. All right, so none of this is white now. So what we'll do, we'll just kind of pull this in to the crowd. Hey, that's R2's leg. So I don't want to do the minifigs in this video. I think what we'll always do is we'll start every build video, the very first video, we'll do minifigs first. So we'll kind of set the minifigs again just off to the side, and I'm going to set the heads upright. You won't necessarily be able to see their faces because I don't want them rolling away. And you got lightsaber pieces. Unfortunately, that will be prone to rolling away. I was helping my son clean up his minifigs just this evening because I've got some friends coming over tomorrow, and he was it was so innocent. I was like, buddy, I told you you can't take their hands out. And he's like, they fell out on their own. And I know he's telling the truth, because they're like these minifig bulk sets you can get, and my wife found them on Amazon, and they're obviously not official Lego brand, and unless you have a keen eye, you wouldn't be able to tell, right? So he's thrilled. He has a bunch of what he calls Roger Rogers and the droids, the battle droids from Star Wars. So he has a bunch of those, and the bigger, stronger ones, the gray ones, and so he was really excited. But unfortunately, the little hands, little hands that go inside their arms, they can fall out a little bit easier on the. So I knew he was telling the truth, because we had to put all of his minifigs in like a container, because he was losing them, and I was trying to tell him. I said, these are the things you're really gonna regret if you lose them. You lose some pieces for a set like this, and you can kind of make it work, right? You can somehow figure out a way to piece it together. But man, you lose those minifigs. That was the worst growing up. We would go to a kid's house, and we knew kids that were kind of spoiled, so they had everything, and those were the kids that didn't keep track of anything. They would have all of the Ninja Turtles, no weapons, and all of the G.I. Joes or Legos, and none of the accessories. And we were always really organized as kids. We actually have some classic Lego sets I'm going to get my hands on. A friend of ours is holding it, sort of like storing it, because my brother was traveling, and so he gave them to him. And we had like a classic castle set, and it has shields and helmets and swords and horses, all kinds of stuff. And it always kind of drove us crazy. You'd go to a kid's house and you're like, bro, where on earth, where are all the weapons? Where's all the cool accessories? Because when you don't have the accessories, it's not nearly as exciting to, like, who wants to play with Raphael if he doesn't have his size, So trying to instill that in my son. He just turned 7, so it's cool to see him taking a little bit more ownership. He's still a little young to I guess care isn't the right word. It's not that he doesn't care. He just gets a little absent-minded, that age group. Everything's exciting, everything's awesome. So it's easy to forget something or not put something away properly. Those are sweet ages, but they're also a little bit more full of chaos and disorganization. I think sometimes, especially with kids, you kind of accept that that's what things are going to be like, and it's a little less frustrating. Try to remind myself, it's like one day the house will be quiet, and that'll be a sad time. So enjoying the chaos of life is, I think, more enjoyable than trying to buck up against it. So where are we on this recording? Okay, that's actually not bad. That's not bad. 9 minutes in, and we've got a good amount of work here. The white, given that it's an X-wing, I mean, if you look, white's gonna be the dominant color. So unsurprising that we have just a ton of white. And I didn't have this in my mind. I didn't picture where everything was going to go. It just sort of starts to organize as I do it. I didn't know that those would be up there or what have you. I just kind of go with the flow, and things end up where they do. Now I am sitting down for this video. I stood for the unboxing, and I was having such a hard time figuring out, the mic and just being comfortable with, I need to be able to, reach and interact with the pieces. And sitting down seems to have really solved that problem for me. This is such a different style of content. Like, I don't even know if people are going to enjoy the ramblings. Oh, that piece went flying. I'll get that one later. That's okay. It's just one of these little white studs. I'll get it there. I just grabbed it, and buddy, it went flipping. Got to make sure they're going the right way. Obviously, people that enjoy this kind of content, the organization aspect, they might get a little annoyed if I'm not at least somewhat uniform in how things, end up spaced out. See, when I was growing up too, Legos weren't like this. You have all these pieces that just, a lot of these, they didn't exist back then. These type up here did, but these pieces with all the extra hinges and attachments and stuff, like my son's got some really, really cool ones. He's got a car that you can make it look like a shark or a race car. And then you can pull it back and it'll go across the floor. I mean, I didn't have Legos like that growing up. One of the reasons I want to start this channel, I guess we can talk about this in the, earliest episodes. It was actually because of my kids, because my son's birthday, he got some Legos and he got a gift that he didn't like. So he returned it, and he returned it on Amazon, and he had the exact right amount of money to get the TIE Fighter. And so he did. And I was really kind of proud of him to make that choice to, he decided in the moment, I don't want this, I want to return it. Looked on Amazon with his mama, and picked out a TIE Fighter. So obviously, I grew up with Star Wars, so I'm super proud. I'm like, yeah, buddy, good choice. And so then I made it for me, I put it together, and this is what I did. I organized it like this and took a picture of the pieces, and then took a picture of it once it was done, and I kind of showed it to some people, and my producer's like, bro, you need to make a channel doing that. I think people would like it. And I got really excited because I don't really ask for things for myself. Like for my birthdays, I'm recording this. I don't know when exactly we'll publish it, but I'm recording this, end of October, and my birthday's early November. And I was like, I never know what to ask for my birthday. I'm usually like, give me something I can do with the kids. Board game, zoo passes. I don't know. Stuff like that. And, or hey, let's just go somewhere with the kids. Cause I'm just too busy to have, hobbies, or my work kind of is centered around a hobby with, video games. And so I was like, oh man, Legos. I grew up with Legos. I always got Legos for my birthday. We had the castle set. I remember I got a police station one year for my birthday. And we had Robin Hood's hideout. We had all these really, really great sets. Some of these sets I'm going to be able to build for you. We will be able to track down the instructions online, I'm sure. And that's going to be a blast. That's going to be so fun. That'll be a trip down memory lane. But just going to the Lego store was a trip down memory lane for me. Not only was it a trip down memory lane, this didn't exist when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, it was just Legos, space station or a motorcycle or whatever. They were cool, but nothing had been infused with fandom, right? There was no, go get a Star Wars Lego set. That wasn't a thing. And so when I went to the Lego store with my son, because he wanted to get some minifigs. He had some money from his birthday. And we thought, okay, let's go. I suddenly just felt this like spark of, oh my word, and I could spend a fortune in here. And I saw the Marvel sets and the Star Wars sets. And obviously, you know, you as an adult, you got to be responsible. You can't just start going in there and going crazy. So I was like, well, you know, I'll wait. Maybe I'll ask for some of this for my birthday. You know, my kids will be real excited to get some for me or help pick them out. And then they can build them with me. It'll be something I can do with the kids. And then I put together the TIE Fighter for them. So, you know, the TIE Fighter shows up, I don't know, a day or two later. And I put together the TIE Fighter, and as I'm doing it, I'm feeling, this sounds stupid, but I'm going to say it. It's almost like I fell back in love with Legos. You know, it just harkened back to something from my childhood, something that I always loved to do in my bedroom. Like the one year for Christmas there was a home video of this. I remember this very distinctly, watching this, because my older brother got Play-Doh and he couldn't play with it. He was very sad. And I got like the blue bin of Legos, just like the big blue bin. It looked like even the lid looked like a Lego, like 4 big knobs on the top. And I remember just being so thrilled to spill them out, you know, and to start working and just building stuff. And I remember we would dump them on the floor of my older brother's room, and we would just try to come up with like the coolest things we could build. And it was always fun mingled with frustration. Not like, it wasn't like we weren't enjoying ourselves, but you always knew you weren't going to create anything as cool. You were not going to create anything as cool as the sets. You know, it was almost impossible to do that. And so it was fun, but at the same time, it was also kind of discouraging, you know? But then you'd have those epiphanies and those moments of, you would think of something that you could do. You know, you would think of something that would look really good, and it would come together and be pretty exciting. I remember we were crafty, you know, as kids. We would take these, had like a milk, I guess, allergy, but more like a sensitivity than an allergy. And our daughter has an egg allergy, so I'm always very careful in how I talk about that, because there's a big difference between an actual allergy and a sensitivity. And so I remember we would take these cartons. They were, you know, rectangular cartons of soy milk. And when we were done with them, you could clean them out, air them out, dry them out, because obviously it would stink if you didn't. And we would take straws and jam them through, cut holes, and make like wheels and, you know, tanks, and turn them into spaceships and stuff. And then you cut holes in the top, so you could put like your figures, you know, superhero figures and stuff in it. So that was always really fun. And that was sometimes mingled a little bit with Lego, you know, because you could come up with some craft of some sort to kind of put it all together. And it was always a lot of fun to see. This is where you got to get real specific and real persnickety. See, we have a light gray and a dark gray, so you gotta make sure you differentiate, or you're gonna end up with, oh, this is gonna end up being accidentally really cool. We're gonna go black, dark gray, light gray right across there. That's gonna be nice. And we'll do the same with these pieces. Again, we're gonna try to keep this area you know, clear. So we'll put some of what I would call, I guess, novelty pieces. I don't know. Stuff like this. Real unique colors. We got all these reds that we can put down here. Just like that. I remember we would have craft books too. Like it was like a three, you know, those 3-ring binder books. And I remember flipping through it, and we would always try and find these cool crafts to do. And crafts always had that, I don't know, reality would settle in, you know? Reality would settle in, and it was like, oh hey, it's not gonna float. The boat's not gonna float, or it's not gonna be very good. So yeah. This is one of the reasons why I like the sets. I think the sets are fun because there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. And you know it's going to look good. Like, you can look at the picture, and it's not like it's not going to look like that when it's done. If it doesn't look like that when it's done, you've made a fatal error. So, all that to say, Legos are a blast. Maybe in the next video, we'll talk about the name of the channel and where it came from. Again, it all is inspired by my kiddos. The whole reason we're doing this, the name of the channel, all of it, inspired by the kiddos. And this video is going to probably be longer than some of the others. When we actually start building, we might try and keep things to a certain time limit, but that's obviously going to be tough because sometimes, if you're rigid on the time limit, we'll have, 10 steps left, and then that's a super short video. So we'll obviously kind of have to play it by ear. Every set's a little different. And we're running out of space, so I'm going to have to take all these light browns, these guys here, we're going to have to migrate them over here. Because they are not going to fit over there. We're going to end up with enough space to build. It's not quite how I did it when I did my son's TIE Fighter, because when I did my son's TIE Fighter, it was like I could just kind of sit back in front of the pile and grab from it. But here, we're obviously trying to make a video, so we want it to kind of look nice. And we want it to be enjoyable. We want you guys to enjoy it. Whoever's watching, feel free to leave comments and all of that. If there's sets you want to see, your favorite sets, we'll probably keep a wish list going as well. This set, I should have included that. I will include that when we start building. I will remember. I will include the name of the person who sent this one, their username. We definitely want to make sure and express that thanks and that gratitude. We weren't really sure if this was something that we could do, so we kind of let the main audience that, oh, we got a blaster. We got a blaster. It snuck in. We let that audience just kind of kickstart this. I said, listen, if you guys think this is something that you would like, my birthday's coming up anyway. Think of it as an early birthday present. You guys want to get me some Lego sets, and then I'll build them for you. And people just were so supportive and so awesome. So obviously we were really excited. I was kind of giddy. I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to get to do something with, something from my childhood that I love. Because, obviously video games from my childhood, but I'm not actively regularly playing Mario or, games I cut my teeth on. So it doesn't quite have the same nostalgic feel to have a career in video games. It's not quite the same as something like Lego. Lego almost feels timeless, even though I'm putting together Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. I don't know, there's something about it that's familiar and reminiscent of being a kid on the floor, cross-legged and trying to find that one piece, that will make the set finished. All right, we're getting close here. We're getting close. I might start maybe just being a little less organized. Oh, I don't want to trigger people though. They'll be like, "Oh, it was so great until the end," and then he just started flailing pieces around, and it was so frustrating. We don't want that. We don't want people to feel annoyed with the content. But at the same time, I wasn't sure how long this would take, because I want it to be something that I enjoy as well, and I actually really like this part. It's kind of relaxing, and bringing order to chaos is always an enjoyable just expression of goodness. Okay, we'll move you down. I didn't anticipate this being something that I would develop a method for, but I'm kind of feeling my way through this. It's like, oh, hey, you can move pieces about to make space so it looks somewhat organized. There's a method to the madness, I guess is the saying. Well, I also got to be careful with the edge. I don't want stuff rolling off. So, kind of use these long guys here to create a bit of a barrier for us. And the reason I like putting the pieces together is as you're going, you'll sort of become familiar with where stuff should be. You'll just kind of remember. You're like, oh yeah, the smooth light grays are over there. We're going to have too many light grays for that, so our instruction manual, we might have to try to do a relocation here. A little migration. We're finding our way here. I like these. I've always liked these little ones here with just like the single dot in the middle. These are like fan blades or something. I wonder if those are the landing. Yep, I just looked at the picture. I peeked. Those are for the landing gear. I kind of felt like that's what that would be. It's always fun when it's really not obvious what a piece is for, to kind of picture it in your mind and kind of guess. You're like, I wonder if this is for the door or the hatch or whatever. You know what we're going to do with the grays? We're gonna wrap up around there. That's what we're gonna do. It's not gonna be pretty. But we're just gonna wrap it. Because we're almost done with the dark grays. These two we're gonna put here. Those are kind of, I guess, we'll call them specialty, maybe. That might make more sense than novelty. They're specialty. They're what you load the blast shots into. The blaster bolts, I guess. They have those in the TIE Fighter. I couldn't figure out how to fire it. I thought I was going to break it. You literally just like push it really hard and it just goes flying out. It's kind of funny. It's not exactly as sophisticated as I expected. But we are almost done here. We've just got these last pieces to organize. We're going to have to migrate some red out of the way. And this is just going to be one of those videos that's just going to kind of land at a length, and we're just going to be okay with it. And if you made it this far, you're awesome. you're super dope. I hope it's enjoyable. I hope it's the kind of content that people will enjoy. We see gray is just going to kind of, it's just going to kind of be everywhere. It's going to be the everyman's piece. They're friends with all of the different pieces on the board. We got all these circles too. And we are going to put these ones up here. As long as they're all in the same spot, I think that's really all that matters, right? Oh, I'm looking up in the actual recording. That looks great. I know I wasn't even looking up there. I'm kind of at an angle, so I can't get the big, nice overhead shot from where I'm sitting. And I just looked up at the monitor, and I'm pretty pleased with that. That looks kind of nice. We're going to have all these guys up here. That's the light gray. The light gray 2s are up there. And here, we'll make some space here for those. And these pieces here are like little triangles. They're like little feet. That's what they always make me think of. Oh, we had these. Oh, right there. See? 4 of them. It's not really a matter of it needing to be super hyper organized. It's just a matter of grouping in my mind. The grouping is what helps. Oh, these little teeny guys. Let's keep those close at hand. We don't want to lose those. I tell you what we're going to do with these circles. We're just going to push them up. Just right there. I think that's great. I'm so excited to build it. I've saved my space. I have the teeniest little build space right here. I tell you, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I love doing it this way. This is satisfying. And hopefully when I move the table over there before the next video, I don't completely destroy this. So thank you so much for watching another episode here on the Brick Abbey as we continue to build Luke Skywalker's X-Wing. We'll see you in the next one.